All right, today we're going to talk about doing due diligence, basically your property inspection. So many times we have the exciting moment where we get some traction on the property, potentially we even get an LOI accepted. And now is going to be the real test to go to basically test out that your assumptions match up to what the property is and the information that's been relayed to you. So when inspecting a property, we have a few different things. We have the financial, we have the physical, and we have the environmental. For the topics of discussion today, we're going to work strictly on the physical. There are the exterior and the interior of the building that comes up. So when we're visiting a building, it actually starts with the surrounding areas to the building. You can do a lot of corrections to the building, but most importantly, you are not going to be able to really have a dramatic effect on what's surrounding you there. So you can improve your asset, but you may see that other things around you may bring you down. So we're going to look at the traffic around, the type of people that are around the property, the type of businesses that show up there. Do we have some Walmarts, Whole Foods, we have Home Depots, do we have Chick-fil-A's, Chipotle's, McDonald's, or do we have a lot of cash loan sites or pawn shops or other things that may serve to give a story of what the clientele is there around the building? How are the upkeep on those buildings around there? Have they been well maintained? Does it look like the money's coming in there? Even the roads leading up to the property here, do they look well maintained? Does it look like the city influxes the city with money to keep the roads up to a certain level? So understanding what all this is can have a huge effect on you understanding fully what's possible in your property and how much you'll have in control. If your property is the property that's not performing compared to the area, well, that's a great space to be. But if your property is being brought down by the area, you have to look at the overall bigger picture. Is there the benefit where you do see things that will actively come here that will help the area and not so much wish or hope that path of progress finds its way to you? So as you're coming on the property here, big things to note is going to be the parking lot. That's going to be a big cost. Has the parking lot been well maintained? Is there a lot of potholes? Even if they have sealed it, is there still a lot of alligator cracks within the parking lot where it really, truly needs to be redone? The same part for the landscaping. When you show up, does it look like the property's been well taken care of? Or is there other parts where you can look to add value by maybe, even if it does look well taken care of, increase the overall curb appeal by adding a different landscape package? How does the sign look? We brought a sign one time, it looked like someone had shot a shotgun through the sign, right? So of course, the overall feel when you're coming up, it doesn't look well maintained, the parking lot looks rough, and the sign feels like that's the effect the tenant's going to have when they first drive up here to say, do I want to live here? How is the overall siding of the building? What is it? Is it stucco? Is it brick? Is it block? Is it siding? Is it hardboard siding? How well has it been maintained? That's going to be something that's going to have a counter effect to you. So is this something that you can improve this? Do you have to re-side the building? Does it just need to be repainted? Same thing goes for the windows. Do the windows look original? Do they look new? Is there R value left in their windows, or do they fully need to be replaced? What is the status of the roof? If there's multiple roofs, have they been kept up? Is there a warranty on the roof? When were they replaced? Do they need to be replaced during the whole the lifespan of your ownership? And if you don't replace them, what could be the counter effect on the next buyer coming in? Now we'll even talk as far as other components here. So AC units, do they look old? Do they look well maintained? Is there a point here where you may have to go and replace a significant amount of these? If some are replaced, it would be best to note, how are they replaced? Is there a chosen allocation where they get to a set year that they are replaced, or basically when something breaks, they go replace it? Understanding the maintenance track record. What are the deferred maintenance from an exterior standpoint? When you look at the property itself too, is there outlying water that's around the property? Do they have gutters coming down from the property that are leading away from the building? I've seen issues with buildings before because they're having a lot of water infiltration in the property, and it's coming from two different ways. Either the gutters themselves, there's no leaders that are leading the water away from the property, or there's negative grading to the building. I saw a fix that someone tried to do one time, that they actually tried to add concrete around the building, but they actually pitched the concrete where it was going back to the building. So you want to say, okay, is there a problem that's solvable, or is there something that the property's on a hill where we're constantly going to have a battle here, where we're going to find some new solution, like setting up a retaining wall or other to block the infiltration of water to the building. Past that, when you look at the property overall, does it look like it's been well maintained? Does it look like there's a certain care to it? Is there trash all around the property that doesn't look to be picked up? Do the dumpsters look to be overflowing? And if the dumpsters are overflowing, maybe it's a certain point that they're not having enough garbage pickups throughout the week, so maybe you could part. From the dumpster side, is there a set place where these are on a dumpster pad where they are set to a point to be hidden or contained, or are they just out there in the open? Because that parking lot that you may go and replace may be beaten up based on the path of the truck coming in, the trash picker upper, right? Great word. So the trash company coming to retrieve the dumpster, they may say a certain path with make the parking lot that's already beat up even worse. Once you get into the buildings here, are the lights, any of the exterior lights, is it well lit from outside to in? Is there a lot of lights around the property? Are bulbs out? Are the lights shining around? When you get inside, same thing. Do the hallways look welcoming? Is the carpet or flooring new, well maintained? Is there a lot of debris or garbage inside? There's interior hallways here. The stairs leading into a property, whether from outside to in, do they look safe? Right? How are the railings? Do the railings look like they're shaking? Does it look like there's a lot of wear and tear, that this could be a potential critical risk to you and your tenant base here? Is there fire extinguishers and or smoke alarms within range that will meet the necessary codes there? Is there a sprinkler system? And if so, for the building, if it's required to have a sprinkler system, is it functional, and when has it been inspected? When you now do come into the property itself, into the hallways, are the hallways painted? Do they look good? Is there a lot of marks or holes on the hallways, right? And so you can have all of these or some of these, and some of these can be a spot where you can find value, but also lead away from value. When you get into the units, the units, and you do walk every unit, because it's the few units that you don't walk that will create an issue for you down the road that you'll find all the problems reside on. If the ownership just happens to not have keys for a few of these units, you have to make sure that you get access back to these units prior to you closing on the property, so you know exactly what you're buying, not only for you, but also for your tenant base, and also for your investor base, right? And you are doing your due diligence to protect your investment and their money they're putting into the property here. When you get into the units here, do they have a layout that is conforming, that is not an odd layout that's difficult to work with, that would make them stand away from the comps, right? If you have a 2-bedroom and a 2-bedroom comp side by side, and they both could be 800 square feet, but one could have a horrible layout when you enter the unit that's just highly unfunctional, right? So it's going to make it less appealing than the other comp that could have a nice open floor plan. So understanding that, and if there's a potential easy fix or not for that unit. What upgrades have been made? How has the unit been kept up? Is there a lot of leaking pipes, water pipes, faucets, and others? In terms of the unit itself, same thing with any of the HVAC or ACs, water heaters. Are they replaced? When have they been replaced? How are they maintained? Do they come and check smoke alarms in a set fashion? Do they come and change the air filters in a set fashion here? All of these things can lead to the longevity of the property, how well it's maintained, and how well it's going to function. So when you're looking at the property itself, you want to see about all these different items that could potentially hurt you and your investment. And all these can add up. Some of these can be great areas for you to go over and capitalize on someone else not being able to do a great job running a property. But in some parts where there's a lot of red flags that go out here, it can be a point to not actually go forward with the property.